Hi everyone, my name is Mark Thomas. I run the YouTube channel Mark Thomas Builder, and I'm one of the members of the Expo 2022 User Advisory Group. And I'm here today with Jerry Morgan. Jerry is a product manager at Expo, and I was wondering what products do you fall under your category? What categories of products do you
Sure, Mark. I'm in
represent?
charge. I'm the product manager for chainsaws, power pruners, and hedge trimmers.
Okay. Well, I do have some chainsaw questions. Actually, one of my first questions has to do with some preventive maintenance. So let's say you're a landscaper and you're running your hedge trimmer all day long for like 5 days a week. And now if you're in the northern climate, you're gonna put it away for like about 5 months. So I'm wondering, when you go to store it, what do you recommend as far as like the fuel? Do you drain it out, or what do you recommend for the winter?
It's a really good question. There are kind of two schools of thought there. A lot of people like to drain all the fluids out completely and put it away that way. And often that works pretty well. Sometimes it will leave a little bit of residue maybe inside the carburetor. What a lot of us like to do is go ahead and put almost like 90% full of fuel. Leave a little bit of space in the tank, so there could be some expansion if the weather dictates that. But fill it about 90% full of good quality fuel, some Red Armor 2-stroke oil, and then a little bit of Red Armor fuel treatment as well. That'll keep it nice and lubricated. Maybe start it, run it for just a minute so all that liquid gets through the engine. And then should be ready to go the next time you're starting in the spring or whenever. Should be ready to go at that point.
Okay. One of the things that I've noticed, like when I'm walking through Home Depot or my dealer, it's probably a little bit like a good reminder when I see it on the shelf, is the UCAN maintenance kits. So that's something that Expo has. Can you describe what it is? And I'm wondering, if you're running your equipment professionally all the time, would you change like the spark plug and the filter right now, like at the end of the year, or in the spring?
Probably it's good either way, really, but with professionals, we kind of recommend that they do that maintenance every 6 months. They're using the tools active enough, and all these tools obviously are designed to burn cleaner the harder you run them and the more you run them. But with professionals, we kind of recommend that they do the filter and the spark plug every 6 months. If you're a consumer, you can probably get away with doing that once a year.
Okay, is it better then to change it if you're a homeowner or consumer in the spring when you're just getting ready to use it, or in the winter before putting it away?
Either one's fine. Personally, I prefer doing it when I'm putting it away. That way I know everything's clean and ready to go. I have my fuel in it. I know the spark plug's good. I know the filter's clean. That way in the spring it's here, I can be ready to go right away then.
Okay, all right, that sounds good. Now I have some questions that pertain to chainsaws. So I've been a longtime fan of chainsaws. I grew up around them. I think when I was like 13, I asked for one for Christmas, and my parents bought this Sears Craftsman one, and I used it that day, and I put it away at night. I remember it was still in the box, and oil leaked everywhere.
Sure.
So we returned it the next day, got a new one, same exact thing, so we just returned it completely. And then I've owned other chainsaws. Some have leaked, some have like barely leaked. I'm wondering, what is like an acceptable tolerance? When would, if it's under warranty, when would you bring it in?
Yeah.
I wonder if you can just speak on that issue, the whole issue with chainsaw oil leaking out.
It's a great question. That one's kind of evolved over time a little bit as well. Most of the saws now, all the oilers are clutch driven. In the past, it used to be if the engine was on and the chain wasn't turning, it's still pushing oil out onto that bar and could create a real mess. Typically now, all the saws are going to be clutch driven oilers, so that it's not pushing oil onto the bar until that clutch is engaged and the chain's actually moving, which helps reduce that amount of oil spill greatly. So that should be the current thing right now. You might see a little bit of extra residue if you're using it. So the thing you can always do is take the cover off the tension adjustment, wipe the bar down, put it back on, and it should be good there. If you happen to do it where you fill up the oil reservoir, use the saw, you stop using it and you put it away, and then for some reason you come back and a lot of the oil is gone or spilled out, then you may have a crack in the tank or a leak in the oiler somewhere that might need to be addressed by a service center.
Okay, so if it is leaking some, would you bring it to a dealer? Let's say you have like a dinner plate size underneath it. Would that be a warranty thing?
If you're seeing that much and you're seeing it more than once, I'd probably bring it in and have it looked at, because it could be that you can have the smallest hairline crack maybe in a tank that might be causing something like that, or some slight situation with the oil that might be doing it. So I'd say if you see that and you see it more than once, probably get it in to have it serviced.
Okay. Now this question I really have been excited to ask and get more information about. It's when you go online and read some of the forums, somebody sees that you get a new chainsaw, like one of the new Echo saws. There's a lot of people on there saying, oh, you need to get it modified. So from a manufacturer standpoint, what are you gaining? Are you really taking a risk on it, or are you going to have a lot more power by sending it off somewhere where they do modifications?
Also a good question, and we see a lot ourselves. Do people do modifications? Yes. Does that modification improve and provide more power at the end of the day? Sometimes it does. Sometimes it just makes the chainsaw louder. We have a pretty strong engineering team here at Echo. They build some great saws. They do a ton of research and development. Our feeling is that you shouldn't make any modifications to them because we're building those chainsaws to only meet performance specifications but safety specifications as well. So we're doing certain things with the saw that are required by UL to get that UL certification. And sometimes when you do modifications, it'll alter that and take it outside of the realm of certification there with UL. So we certainly can't control what people do, but our recommendation is you would not do any modifications to a saw.
So you're going to avoid the warranty right away as soon as you start.
That's a big part of it too. So you always talk to people who do different things, and as soon as they do certain things, you kind of close your ears, but you know what they've done is voided the warranty for them. So you don't want to put them in that position, with a $500, $400, $700 saw.
Mm-hmm. So this is something I just learned a couple years ago when it comes to the new battery powered being more popular. So when you're running a chainsaw and you have chaps on, so battery is going to work different. The chaps are going to perform different with gas or battery, correct? So
they can, yes.
What can happen? So I understand with a gas chainsaw, the chaps will cause it to stall.
It can, yes, because either the gas chainsaws have a clutch and battery-powered ones do not have a clutch. So a lot of times the Kevlar and the chap will put a load on that clutch and have the chain stop turning at that point. And then battery ones obviously don't have the clutch, so that wouldn't happen on batteries. But currently, right now, there are no industry standards for chaps with battery chainsaws. But at Echo, we recommend you always wear PPE equipment, always steel-toed boots, always chaps, always gloves, always eye and hearing protection as well for everything.
Okay. So with a battery saw, it could, if you're hitting your chaps, you're gonna probably let go of the trigger automatically, but if you didn't, for some reason, the chain could keep turning somewhat with battery.
Yeah, and again, I'm not a chap expert. We were at TCI last year, and the Davy Group did a fantastic display where they showed how a battery saw works kind of in conjunction with chaps. And that all involves coming off the throttle as the saw might be falling. Obviously, you don't want to your full throttle in the cut, but if you for some reason were to lose the saw and it comes out, then you certainly want to back off the throttle before it comes in contact with anything. So
gotcha. Okay. So I haven't had a chance to go through everything out here yet. So I'm wondering with Echo for 2023 or the fall right now, what are some changes with some of your saws? I understand with the top handle arborist saw, was there something on the gas version?
Yeah, absolutely. So our 2511 T and P models, we launched those about 2 years ago now. We're launching another version of that right now with a different cutting system. It's an 80 TXL cutting system. It's a slightly smaller chassis chain, so it's ideal for lower displacement gas products and battery saws. Some of the feedback we had with the 2511 had a little bit of chatter in the cut. And this new 80 TXL cutting system is a much smoother cut. It's a much faster cut, so the performance is outstanding with the 80 TXL series.
Is that out right now?
We're demoing it here right behind us, and it's going to be available in Q1 of 2023.
Okay, that sounds good. Well, I'm going to definitely put it on my channel and check it out after this. So, well, I think I don't know if there's any other questions anything else you want to mention about this? Is there anything else I could have asked you that would be important for everyone to know about?
See, I think one of the questions we kind of talked about just a few minutes ago was battery charge life and warranties and things like that a little bit. We spoke a little bit about that. Batteries typically warranty-wise are 2 years for consumer, 1 year for commercial. And then battery life is typically around 800 to 1,000 charging cycles. And that doesn't mean it's going to be completely dead after 1,000 charging cycles, but you might just lose a little bit of that capacity. So it might only perform at 75% of capacity, where the first 1,000 charging cycles were your full runtime, 100% capacity. So different things like that with the battery are new to everybody. Performance is certainly there, but managing runtime and charge time and everything else is certainly something we're all learning from.
Okay, and what about in the winter when you go to store it? Can it be out in your cold garage or shed, or do you need to bring the battery in to room temperature?
Our recommendation with the battery product is you kind of charge it up to around 75% of its charge, and then just keep it somewhere where it's dry. Nice dry area. It should be maintain its charge that way, and then should be nice and ready to go for the next time you're using it in the spring.
Okay. All right. Well, that sounds good. Well, I want to thank you, Jerry, for everything here, and guys, I hope you enjoy this interview.
Thank you, Mark.
All right,
Appreciate
thanks a
it,
lot.
bud.
All right. See you next time.